Hey guys, welcome back and hello if you are new. Returning with their 9th studio album, Sabaton delve into the trenches of World War I, between a period of 1914 and 1918 to deliver the Great War. Concept have always been a large part of Sabaton's kind of modus operandi, if you will. But I think what I enjoyed the most about the Great War is how they tackled a subject that is so big. You know, World War I is such a vast concept in itself. Where do you even start? It also doesn't focus solely on, the more European aspect of things. For example, T.E. Lawrence, when he was in Arabia, which is on 7 Pillars of Wisdom, looks at the kind of Middle Eastern side of things. It's this kind of overall global concept of what World War I stood for that I really, really appreciated. However, I have to say, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't listen to this album in the History Edition. The History Edition is fantastic. It gives you sort of like a 30-45 second context into what the song is about. The History Edition also contains these great sort of sound effects that really put you in that immersive experience of being kind of with Sabaton in these trenches. And the album in particular, in terms of what it addresses, moves from the likes of equipment, so the arrival of the tank, gas, snipers, to then more kind of memorable heroes, really, if you think about it, in the World War. But I think probably the most pertinent is the idea that there is this theme of what is the point of war? And this particular ideology is definitely highlighted on Fields of Verdun, The End of the War to End All Wars, and Great War. And it brings back this focus of the horrors of warfare and truly how terrifying this was for all of those young men. It reminded me a little bit of those kind of Wilfred Owen poems. The record also works fantastically in contrasts, understanding when to really push forward and then when to kind of dial things back. For example, Great War has a really large ensemble and really does create that sort of symphonic element. However, it then kind of is backpedaled somewhat, for example, on Ghost in the Trenches, which is more mid-paced, but still keeps that level of energy up that we've come to know from Sabaton. But then, the atmosphere can totally change, often by a really cleverly placed solo or a lead melody. And it has to be said, the new guitarist is absolutely fantastic. It's futile to think that Sabaton aren't going to be over the top. I mean, it's Sabaton. But there's this Eurovision sense to it, which for me is part of the album's charm. Songwriting on this album particularly is absolutely brilliant. Fields of Verdun, for example, flows perfectly from verse to pre-chorus to chorus, and it has this sense of kind of a slight unresolved nature. Descending to darkness. That chorus kind of explodes out, and then we're put into that sort of anthemic style that Sabaton really inhabit now. There are definitely smaller nods to different kind of styles as well. For example, Red Baron uses kind of almost a Russian idea of what the melody would be like. The Red Baron also features a killer little keyboard solo, which really kind of rekindles that idea of an AOR aesthetic, which I thought was awesome. Though perhaps for me the finest hour of the Great War is the end of the war to end all wars, where it almost sounds like Pirates of the Caribbean, and what precedes it straight afterwards is a kind of choral piece called In Flanders Fields, where everything is just very minimalist, but it feels probably the most honest song on the album and really kind of leaves the album on a very poignant note. And it reminds us of that universal sacrifice, regardless of country, that all those men gave in the Great War. However, potentially one of the only negatives I can think of is the fact that it is full on. And for me, I love listening to the album, but I couldn't listen to it and then listen to it straight away again. There's so much going on, there's so much to take in that it can be a bit of a fatiguing listen, but when you're listening to it, it feels like you're in, like Saving Private Ryan. I know that's World War II, but you get the gist. A comprehensive, non-biased look into the many facets of warfare, but particularly ends up with a question of what is the point of war? All the while paying homage to all of those men who lost their lives in a fantastic songwriting style that sees Sabaton really elevate to that next level. Thank you so much for watching this album review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. I always love to see what you guys think in the comments, so please do give me a shout and let me know what you thought of the video. Sabaton's brand new album, The Great War, is set for a July 19th release via Nuclear Blast Records, and you can pre-order it right underneath me. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next week for another album review. Take care, friends.